Alrighty, everyone, welcome back. So, I don't get to talk about the Coyotes that often. For those who don't know, I am a Flyers fan at heart, but another team that I have really enjoyed watching over the last couple of years is actually the Arizona Coyotes. I don't know what it is. I just really like watching a team that is, like not that popular, and they're always underdogs. And I've always liked Arizona. It's just how it is, honestly. But I don't get to talk about them as often as I used to mainly because there isn't a whole lot to talk about. Obviously, like the team has been in this rebuilding stage for not just like 10 years, but mainly for the past 2 years or so. So, haven't really gotten that much time to talk about them. But this year, they look legit. They look very fun to watch. And it's crazy to think now, there's a lot to go with this year, too. A lot of teams are in it still at this stage of the season. Usually at this time, there you could pretty much tell, like, oh yeah, those teams will make the playoffs. Those teams won't make the playoffs. There's still a lot of gray area for a lot of teams. So that's probably what I'm saying. But the Coyotes look in it at this stage, Monday, December 4th, they look in a playoff spot. They look like they're in the race for the playoffs. And that is something that I didn't think I'd say at the start of the season. So we'll just get straight into it here. Currently, they're 12-9-2 for 26 points. And they are on a 4-game winning streak. They are in the first wild card currently, if I'm correct, and they're playing some very good hockey. And there's a lot of players that are contributing to this as well. Like, yeah, I said in videos, and I said in many videos talking about Arizona, that I did think that they will get better. I definitely said that. I said they get better. I knew that this is probably going to be the last season of us not being a contending team, and then next season will be the year where we start finally, contending for a playoff spot. But I might be a year too late. This could be the year where we do it. Now, obviously, it's only a 4-game win streak, and I'm going to need to see some more consistency out of Arizona before I agree that, yeah, they can make the playoffs. Because even though this little 4-game winning streak they've gone on is great, I'm not going to deny that. Beating 4 Stanley Cup champions in the last 5 years, it's great. It's pretty good to see. But I'm not entirely sold on this roster yet, because before that we went on like a 3-game losing streak. We were facing a lot of inconsistency as well during that time, so I still have my doubts, as I probably always will do. Like, being a fan of these teams, I'm always going to have doubts, but I like the direction they're going. So they start off with a 2-0 win over Vegas, a big win. Vegas at that time was at the top of the league by a pretty big margin too. Now they're not, but they were at the top of the league at that time. Then they beat Tampa 3-1. That's a big win. An offensively powered team, too, that has really good offense. I do need to make a video on Tampa Bay at some point. There are some questions that I do have with them as well. They beat Colorado in overtime, and Arizona Colorado has always been such a fun matchup for me, mainly because we faced them in the playoffs and all that. But usually when it goes to extra time, the Coyotes win it. That's one thing I've noticed. Like, we can never beat them in regulation. All of our wins against them have come in extra time, just from looking back at experience. Then you beat St. Louis 4-1. That's a big win. St. Louis, a division rival. You want to get those wins in regulation, especially since St. Louis was above us at the time when we played this game. It's good to see them get a regulation win against that team, not giving them that extra time point or anything like that. And as of right now, they play the Washington Capitals today. So when you watch this video, that game may be over. They may have blown the win streak, which honestly wouldn't surprise me because I'm a Coyotes fan. But maybe they're on a 5-game win streak now. But we'll find out, obviously. But yeah, I like the run they're going on. It's a great little run. I'm not sure if it's gonna last, but I like how it's going. They've scored 76 goals and have allowed 68. I think that's the first time in a very long time where I've seen their goal differential be positive. Yeah, and this is honestly the first time, too, I've seen them in a playoff spot. That isn't like, like the first game of the season. Like, this is the first time in December in a very long time that I've seen the Arizona Coyotes in a playoff spot, which is crazy to think. But yeah, the offense looks great. Clayton Keller, 23 games played, 8 goals, 13 assists, 21 points. Keller having himself a great year. Not as good as last year, not to discredit him at all, but still having himself a pretty good season. Nick Schmaltz then up next, 23 games played, 7 goals, 11 assists, 18 points. Schmaltz playing the way he needs to, providing that offense. Always like Schmaltz. Although I do think that it's very possible we may see him on the out this year. Might get into that a little bit later, but we'll talk about the team as of right now. Matias Michelli. Michelli has 23 games played, 4 goals, 13 assists, 17 points. I like Michelli's overall game. A very, a player that, was often forgot about last season in his rookie year, but now, this year, obviously, he's playing very well, too. Nick Bjugstad, for some reason, Nick Bjugstad's putting up some very good numbers. 23 games played, 5 goals, 10 assists, 15 points. It's crazy what extra ice time can do to you. It is. But yeah. And then finally, Lawson Krause is 5th in scoring with 22 games played, 10 goals, 5 assists, 15 points. That's not all who I want to mention, though. Those 5 guys have done very good job offensively, putting up numbers they need to. Probably the 5 best players in the team. But a guy that has really emerged himself, and he's kind of what inspired me to make this video a little bit, is Michael Carcone. Who would have thought this man has 11 goals? Carcone, for the longest time, was, the highest scoring AHL player, if I'm correct. He was always the player in the AHL who always was, leading and scoring. It was like that for the past, 2 years, pretty much. And he gets the call up to the NHL this year, earns himself a roster spot, which is very well earned. I'm not going to discredit him at all. He did a very good job at earning that roster spot. And he has 11 goals. I don't know what it is, but he doesn't average a lot of ice time either. He averages about 10 minutes a night. He doesn't play that often, and he's scoring. And that's something that Arizona struggled with for so long, is secondary scoring. Carcone is a secondary scorer, even though he might be leading the team in goals. But anyways, yeah, he is scoring for us, and that's been an issue we've had. So I'm really happy to see a guy like him who is on a pretty decent contract too. I believe he might be league minimum. If not, it's below $1 million for sure. But yeah, he's having himself a really good season so far. Logan Cooley has 13 points, 2 goals, 11 assists. I would love to see some more offense out of Cooley, but I'm not overly angry. It takes a little bit for him to develop. Gunther as well. Also, obviously, he's been in the AHL a little bit, which is fine. I'm not concerned about that either. Give him a few years to develop, and then I think next year is when he really pops off at the Arizona level. Then you got Sean Durzi playing a pretty good defensive style. I like Durzi a lot. That's a great acquisition from LA. I'm loving that trade. Matt Dumba, underwhelming results. The defense hasn't been good. The offense hasn't been good either. I think that after this year, they're probably going to let him go or try and move him. I understand why teams did not want him from Minnesota now. All due respect to Matt Dumba. But regardless, I understand that now, obviously. And of course, the one player who's really helped him out is Connor Ingram. Now, Arizona, through the past 2 years, had a very good tendency of allowing a lot of shots. It just is what it is. I'll watch Coyotes games. I don't get to that often because I live on the East Coast, and obviously school plays a factor, and I don't want to stay up till 10 p.m. to watch Arizona probably lose because we're in the rebuild still. All due respect, I might be criticizing them too much, but it's what I do. Yeah, I don't want to stay up, but I know we allow a lot of shots. I can just tell from looking at the on paper, and a lot of them are high danger chances too. Ingram though has done himself a great job. 10-3-0, 2.40 goals against average, a .926 save percentage. If we make the playoffs, I think there is a good chance he gets good votes for Vezina. Very good chance, because I don't want to say the defense is bad, but it's not a great defense. It's not the best defense in the world. I love the guys on it, Durzi, Moser, Stetcher, all those guys, but they're not. It's not an NHL. It's not a contending defense. It's just not. It just is what it is. But Ingram's having himself a very good season, and I think that too. I believe he has one more year after this season, but if we come to the point where we're not in a playoff spot, we may move him. We may get assets to move him. And hopefully Kralovic-Mielka can get on that tail too. He hasn't been that good this year, but a 2-6-2 record, a 3.45 goals against average, and a .892 save percentage. Obviously he hasn't been the best. He's usually our best goalie, but it just hasn't been there this year for him, which is unfortunate, but it just is how it is some seasons with goalies. Hopefully he can turn it around eventually, but right now he's kind of lacking a little bit. So finally, I want to take a look at the wild card race. Although it's early and there's still plenty of time, we're not even halfway through the season yet. There's still a lot of time to go. I want to look at the wild card race a little bit. Obviously, you see there, Winnipeg is the third placeholder in that division with 28 points. If the Coyotes win tonight against Washington, which they may already have, these standings will probably change by the time you watch this video, but regardless, they have 26 points. If the Coyotes win tonight against Washington, I believe they hold that third spot in the Central. So that would be good to have, obviously, but it's a very competitive division there, too. You got St. Louis with 25 points right behind them in that second wild card spot. However, they do have a 3-point lead on Calgary, so that is definitely good to see. They have a 3-point lead on the Flames, which is the next team that would claim a wild card spot. So they have some ground to hold, but it's not a lot. They want to definitely gain some ground on these teams, and you want to get regulation wins against these divisional opponents too. Like getting a divisional win against Vegas was great. Or not Vegas, St. Louis was great. Earning the 2 points and not giving St. Louis anything is obviously awesome. But you definitely want to gain some more ground for sure. And then I got Nashville, 22 points, and then Seattle, 22 points. Obviously, too, Minnesota's playing very well. Edmonton's still in it. There's other teams that I haven't mentioned there that are on that list that are still in this race. Like, this is a very close NHL this year. It feels very unpredictable from one night to the next. So, obviously the Coyotes could be playing great now, but then in December they could go on a 4-game losing streak. And that's what I'm looking at in December. Obviously, they've played one game so far after tonight it'll be 2, but I want to see consistency. I want to see some consistency out of this team. When they start losing, they kind of give up on the game a little bit, I feel like. And I definitely want to see a lot less of that. And, I look at November. November was kind of like, yeah, they had a 4-game winning streak, but it was like a 500 month for them, basically. So I want to see some consistency. It's better than it was, I will say that. But what I want to see is, again, consistency. So, yeah, let me know your thoughts down below. Thank you all for watching. Apologies for not making videos like this for the past couple of weeks or past couple of days. Had problems recording. It looks fine now. You can tell that I've done some decorations to the room. The Christmas tree is up for the Christmas season, so that'll be up for a few weeks. But regardless, thank you all for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Adios.